Hey, I'm in the mall parking lot. I wanted to record a video to talk about my album Shake that I just put out online, and it's a collection of 10 songs that have been sitting in some various states of completion for about 20 years now, and I finally got off my ass and I decided to put them all out. And I kind of want to walk through track by track and just give it a little rundown. First track, High and Low, it's the most recent song that I finished, actually. That one was written a couple of years ago and in the middle of what I would say is a low. So it was very much high and low, written from the perspective of being in the low. Musically, it's very inspired by PJ Harvey. And I would say that PJ Harvey's influence is huge on all of the music on this album. At least all the guitar-based songs are very inspired by PJ Harvey, particularly To Bring You My Love and Rid of Me, her two albums. She has a very blues-driven sound, but in a really weird, kind of dramatic, overly dramatic way that I love. And I really wanted to, especially the opening track on To Bring You My Love, has an eerie, it sets an eerie tone for the album that I love. So I really consciously wanted, that's what was my inspiration for that as an opening track for an album to set the tone for the whole album. So it's very like very over the top blues. So it's like a very, it could sound like an old style traditional blues song, I think. And I just had a lot of fun with making it a little ugly and grotesque sounding. So that was fun. The second song on the album is Empty Home, which is, I think, the oldest song that I've included in the album. There were maybe a couple of other songs I had written when I first started teaching myself guitar, but that's one of the first ones I ever wrote back when I was in my 20s. And it is a song about being home alone in the suburbs with no real life, not a lot of easily accessible friends to spend time with, just on your own, drinking and watching porn and abusing your body, basically. And that is, it's just kind of a sad state to be in, and but a fun song about that. So I have a lot of fun playing with it. I like the energy of it, I like the guitar solo, so that's a fun one. Next is Shake Me Down, the new version. There's an old version that I just previously put out as an EP recently, so that in its original form is on the EP version, which is a much more like loud, guitar-driven, like rocker. And then when you wanna play, beat me by the gate, shake me down. He gets me what I need any way he please, shakes me down. And then the new version, I kind of wanted to update the sound to a little more of a modern style sound, more of a pop, even though it's kind of like a dark, I don't know if I could hear it being played on any radio station, but I wanted to incorporate some more modern pop sounds to it and make it a little quieter and sinister sounding. And I also wrote a new chorus for it, which I really like. So it's almost like this is the finished version of the song. I don't know because I also really like the original loud rocking version. They're both two really good versions of a fun, raunchy, edgy song. It's kind of a song about power dynamics in sex, and well, there's a phrase called power bottom, and I think that's really the perspective that the song is written from. Somebody who's a bossy bottom, so kind of take charge from the submissive role in the relationship. So who's really got the power?
And I love cinnamon and she loved me, and we're a little cinnamon family.
Love Cinnamon is just very PJ Harvey again, very 1993 PJ Harvey, like bluesy, raunchy, but in a grotesque, funny way. I was working at a tea shop when I was going to Berklee School of Music as a part-time job, and they had this specific cinnamon chai that in the menu description, I think they just ran out of ideas because it just ended with like, it's cinnamon, love cinnamon. And I thought that was funny. So I thought it would be a good title and basis for a song. And it's, I don't know what else to say. It's just a raunchy, sort of grotesque. It's a character piece, I guess. Sexy, but in a grotesque way. That's the best way I can put it.
There you go, off again, tossing that pigskin.
Let's see, then we have Hey Tom. Hey Tom was also one of the first songs I wrote on the guitar about the, at the time, new star quarterback for the Patriots. And this is another very PJ Harvey inspired one. PJ Harvey writes these great songs that are kind of like nightmares. She kind of puts on a persona in her songs of maybe like a crazy, unhinged lunatic that is kind of fun to play with. It's very like humorous, but dark humor, disturbing kind of tone. So I really wanted to have fun writing a song like that about Tom Brady. And so, yeah, it's a fun one.
Bread and begotten, dead and forgotten, warm, red, rotten, dead and forgotten.
So after Hey Tom, we have Dead and Forgotten, which this one I almost forgot about for a while. It was just kind of sitting on my computer, and this was something I wrote and recorded. Well, I didn't even write it, to be honest. It was just like completely an improvisation on guitar. I just had my microphone set up in my old apartment, and we just messing around. Sometimes I'd just hit record and mess around, and this is one of those times I was just messing around, and it just came out exactly as you hear it. That was like completely the one take I did. I just improvised the words to it, and then I did layer on after the fact some electric guitar, and it came out really powerfully. It to me feels a little like almost like an exorcism, like a ceremony. Like it feels like a very primal energy that I think came out really cool and not what I was expecting. And so I was kind of surprised by the power that ended up having. So it's a cool one, and it almost got completely forgotten about, but then it just came back to me when I was thinking about songs to include on the collection. So, and I'm glad it did.
He looks at me with the ocean in his eyes. He can't escape the feelings that are wrecking him inside, and he cries.
Now, after Dead and Forgotten, we switch to the more vulnerable section of the album. This next song, it came to me when I bought my first like real grand piano. We traded in my family's upright piano and got this beautiful ball-twin grand piano, and has a beautiful sound in the bass register. And I was just put my hands on the piano, and this lick came out, and that just forms the basis of this beautiful song. And I'm really proud of the music. I'm really proud of the string arrangement, particularly. I kind of came up with a cello part and an orchestral string part. Stylistically, reminds me a little bit of David Foster's love theme from St. Elmo's Fire in terms of what I wanted the effect of the strings to have. The bridge, especially, the bridge came later, that middle bridge section. It feels very David Fosterish to me. And then I think the vocal, I think I reminded myself a little bit of Michael Stipe and R.E.M. In the vocal delivery. So I was really nervous about it. If you notice the first part of the album, I distort my voice on the songs because I really never had confidence in myself as a vocalist. And I recorded dozens and dozens of attempts at that vocal take, and they all probably sounded fine, but I just was so freaked out hearing my undisguised natural voice. But finally, the one you hear is like, I just finally have reached a point now, and it was just in the past few months, I just laid that take down in one take and didn't overthink it and didn't over edit it or put any effects on it other than some slight reverb. That's it. And I think it sounds lovely, and I'm kind of standing by it now. So I'm standing by my voice, and there it is. So He is a really pretty song. When I listen to it, it does kind of move me. So it's really special to me.
It's freezing when you leave the room with heavy hearts. The leaves are falling.
After He, we have Never Had. That's a fun one. That's like my little attempt at a real dance pop song. I really wanted deliberately to try to write a dance pop song, and it's very much in tapping into my Breeders influence, Kim Deal and the Breeders, particularly the sing-songy vocal melody that Kim Deal has in a lot of her songs, and also specifically the Breeders' Cannonball, which is an iconic bass line. I wanted to have an iconic like bass line, so I came up with that bass line, and then I had some keyboards, and the keyboards were very Fleetwood Mac, Christine McVie influence. So how would Christine McVie play keyboards for a Breeders song, basically? And also that was a learning thing for me for structuring the song. So having like a B section, like the to a point where our lines intersect, that B section. I kind of was looking to Madonna songs as my template for, you have like Into the Groove, for example, you have like the regular verse, the chorus, but you also have a B section that keeps coming back a couple of times throughout the song. So I mapped the song out like that, and it felt very very engineered and very deliberate in my songwriting. So that's my experiment at a dance pop song. Then we have Even Though You're Right. I'm really proud of Even Though You're Right. That one just came, that was just that lick on the guitar, that opening lick, na 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 na, which I lifted from a Modesto Mussorgsky, a little moment in my favorite classical piece, Pictures at an Exhibition. That little motif is there, so I lifted it from that. I turned it into a kind of a rock song. This is a song about a fight. This is a fight to the finish. And this is another song, it moves me when I listen to it because it is about a fight between people who care so much. They love each other so much. They might be friends, they might be a couple, but for me, it really specifically was a friend. But I love this friend dearly. But it was just the fight grew out of control. It just grew a life of its own. It's like the momentum took over, and suddenly we didn't expect it to be like a friendship ending fight, but it grew into one because we weren't going to back down, either one of us. And then it just, some of the ways we were fighting with each other was so hurtful. And then it's like, you can't unsay the things that have already been said. And now it's like, well, you might have a point with that, but I'm going to get my shot back at you too, if that's like how you're going to do this. So and it's just so sad. It's so sad, like when you're in the middle of it. And that's, so when I listen to that song, I just feel like a lot of the fresh pain of that situation in that song. So, but it came out really pretty. So, in a, sad way. So anyway, that's that song. Even Though You're Right.
If I could be an island at the edge of the sea, I would be a light.
Last but certainly not least, last and I think the most, is Egg Rock. Egg Rock is a rock out right next to Nahant, Massachusetts. You can see it from this old, beautiful apartment I was living in Lynn on the beach, and you would look out on the ocean, and it almost looked like a sphinx out in the ocean. And there was something very beautiful, and like I endowed it with a character. I mean, what is it? Anthropomized it or something, whatever it is. I just felt like it almost had this energy of like a protector on the ocean. And that is the island at the edge of the sea that I'm singing about. For me, this song is like my heart. It's really not about anything. It's just maybe a little bit of abstract poetry, but I think it feels very much like the most me in any of my songs that I've recorded. I think it just really feels like the most vulnerably my personality, my energy. And I think it's just maybe the prettiest thing I've ever recorded. So it's a very, very, a very special song to me. I hope other people like it. I feel like it should be a big hit. I feel like it should be in a movie, maybe, on a soundtrack, and it should probably win an Oscar. So I think I'm going to manifest that. We're going to win an Oscar for Egg Rock. But it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And that brings the album to an end. And so it's just really nice to put these songs out in the universe, whether or not they're to anybody's taste. Personally, I think I am to many people's tastes personally as a person. And if if people like me, then they should at least appreciate my artistry. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about these songs, and thank you for if you want to take a listen to them. Take care. I love you all. Bye.
An island at the edge of the sea, I would be alive, and I would greet the seagulls that would come to visit me, and I would be a light through all the changes in my life.